Hi everybody, Don the Mushroom Hunter here, and it is October 19th. I'm in Portage County, Ohio, and I just found this spot fairly close to my house that's absolutely loaded with boletes. A couple of different species. I found some slippery jacks a little while ago. They were all kind of too old, but these two species I'm seeing here are Suillus weaverae and Suillus americanus, also known as the I think short-stalked bolete and chicken fat boletes. These tend to both grow around pine trees. Pretty sure I'm surrounded by eastern white pines here because the pine needles are bundled in like fives. So pine needles that are bundled in with 5 different needles together are generally eastern white pine. Other white pines, I believe, have bundles of 2 to 3 needles per bunch. I'm just learning my pine trees, so bear with me if I'm wrong. But yeah, quite a few growing around here. Let's take a look. All right, so here are the short-stalked boletes. Just bunches of them coming up. You can see some remnants of some that I've already harvested to throw in my basket. Right next to them here are the chicken fat boletes. So let's talk about these first. These chicken fats, I can't say they're amazing edibles, but they're not too bad. They're fairly yellow on top, and they're staining. If you can kind of see there's sort of this reddish pink staining on them that's very common. Boletes, well, except for the boletes that have gills. Boletes generally do not have gills. They have a pore surface underneath, and you can kind of see the big wide open pores here. These are kind of soft and squishy mushrooms. I've tried these before. I'm not super fan of them. The texture is kind of a little mushy, and the stems are really quite firm and fibrous, so the stems aren't really edible. But there are quite a few around here, some popping up underneath of this log here, quite a few more around. There's a bunch of other stuff around here too, some Lactarius indigo and whatnot. But as for the short-stalked bolete, their cap is fairly brownish, right? Like very similar to the color of the pine needles, kind of a warm brown. They are very sticky and kind of tacky, and again have a pore surface underneath, bright yellow pore surface, whitish stems that can get a little yellow towards the top, towards the cap. These are kind of have fused together here, but yeah, these are a pretty decent tasting mushroom. I should also mention that slippery jacks and slippery jills are two very similar species, with the exception of they actually have a partial veil that will cover the bottom pore surface when they're young, and sometimes still be attached to the stem as they mature. So a lot of times with some of these boletes and some of these other mushrooms, you'll look at the underside and you won't see pores or gills or anything. It'll just be kind of this flat membrane, but that will pull away as the mushroom grows, especially as the cap starts to enlarge and flatten out. That membrane will pull away from the cap and kind of remain on the stem. So if you find some boletes that look similar to these, look at the bottom. If especially the really young ones, if it almost looks like they don't have pores and that there's this little membrane that you can peel away, that will be Suillus luteus, probably a slippery jack, or again a very closely related slippery jill. They look pretty similar. Anyway, something to take a look at. Both are edible. All of these mushrooms are edible, so it's not really an issue if you accidentally eat something that you think is, let's say, a slippery jack, but it's actually one of these short-stalked boletes. You might not know exactly what you're eating, but you're not going to, it's not going to cause any issues. So for a long time, this was thought to be a Suillus granulatus, which is known as like the weeping bolete or granulated bolete, because the stem can actually have little white granules on it. But that is now, it's determined that that's now a European species. Like a lot of the mushrooms here in North America, we're finding out that what we once thought they were through DNA sequencing, we're learning that they're not. So this is very similar, looks almost identical. If you set two of these side by side, this and Suillus granulatus, I'm not sure you'll notice the difference, but definitely different on a genetic level. With a lot of these boletes, because I had mentioned that the top is pretty tacky and pretty sticky, some people have a hard time digesting that, and or at least it will cause like mild gastrointestinal issues. So a lot of people tend to peel the caps before they eat them. I've never been bothered by that, so I generally don't, I don't worry about doing that. Just an extra step. That's again unnecessary for a lot of people. Try it or do it. If you find these, if you're a little worried, just peel them off. It is extra work, but peeling the cap isn't going to, be the end of the world. The flesh inside of these is yellow, so it might be kind of hard to see. It is sort of whitish, but it definitely has like a yellowish tinge to the flesh. These are very mild flavored mushrooms, like a lot of boletes. Very dense, very meaty. You can eat the stems, unlike the chicken fat Suillus mushrooms I was just talking about. And quite prolific right now. These things are everywhere. So I'm gonna definitely fill my basket up with these. Boletes do really well preserved by dehydration. So any of these that you find, if you can't get to them all, slice them up, dehydrate them, store them in an airtight vessel, and basically you'll have some delicious mushrooms to rehydrate over winter. Get out there and find some. Happy hunting.